everybody. I'm Bob Marone for Westchester Talk Radio, along with Matt Zako, and we are live at the Captain Lawrence Brewery here in Elmsford, New York. And we're here for the Childcare Council of Westchester annual meeting. They'll review their annual report. A lot of good things are going on. We're produced this evening by Shaw Creative and made possible by Robeson, ENT Allergy, Michael Labriola Incorporated, and Hightower Westchester. And my guest for this segment, a man I seem to run into all the time because his bank, the people he works for, they're always getting involved with nonprofits here in Westchester. And if we had a big audience, I'd say give him a round of applause. His name is Adam Kintish from M&T Bank, an event sponsor. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Good evening.
It's good to see you again. Now, how come I keep running into you with all these? Aren't you supposed to be out making money instead of giving it away?
I try to balance both. I try to balance making money and giving money. So it's a 50-50 split.
You got a 20 on you? I mean, you're helping all these other people here.
I have to save it for valet parking.
All right, now tell us a little bit I got that. Tell me a little bit about why you're here tonight for this event.
I have worked with the Childcare Council in many capacities for the last probably 13 or 14 years.
Yes.
I was on their advisory board, longtime friends of mine. And whenever there is a need in any capacity for sponsorship or foundation grants, in-kind giving, or setting up a table for their child care providers, we're there as a partner to them. And I've truly enjoyed the partnership that I've had with them for the many, many years that I've known Kathy and her team at CCCW.
Wow, and that person is Kathy Hallis, whom I've known through my other enterprises and what I do here. Just an extraordinary woman, and how she runs this place is extraordinary. A little bit more, I'm always interested, people are cynical. Well, the bank's only doing that to get a name out, but it really does pay for a company to do what yours does. And share a little bit about that. Why you're so, and I see you at all these nonprofit things. Why and what's the benefit?
I will tell you one thing. What's very cool about M&T Bank is we have 18,000 employees from Maine on down to Virginia. And in our annual performance objectives, community involvement and community engagement is one of the key pillars of every employee at M&T Bank. It's important for us to be part of that community. It's important for us to be a fixture in the community and a true community partner. So yes, you do see us around as many nonprofit events as we can. I have some colleagues here tonight as well to join me in honoring and working with Childcare Council. But it's a pillar of what we do. It's a foundation of M&T Bank. It's an important part of our culture and an important part of what I think differentiates us from the other banks that are out there.
Now, it does make a difference for what it's worth. I know that I know more about M&T Bank since I met you a year or two ago than I ever did before. So it's now a brand name to me. Not that it wasn't before. I mean, I heard of them. But now that you do this, now you yourself, is this what you do? Are you in charge of development, PR, giving? What's your role?
No, I'm actually a senior branch manager in the Mamaroneck branch.
No kidding.
In the region, but I sort of have become the self-absorbed nonprofit guru, if you will.
I get it.
And have enjoyed working in the nonprofit community, and part of our foundation, part of the committee that has the discussions around our foundation, our giving. So I wear a couple of different hats, but to be between you and I would say this is my favorite part of the job.
Now, I have to ask you what I always ask people who do what you do. Now that you mentioned that you're also a branch manager, there are two things. One has to do with you personally. The other is a bad pun. Which one would you like first?
Well, I mean, personally...
Okay, here's the deal. I know I've been in finance, in corporate communications. I know what it takes to run a branch. Where the heck do you find the time to do all that I see you do in the nonprofit world? And you probably have a family and God knows what else.
It's balancing. When you're passionate about something, you find the time to do what you love doing. And I think that, having a family that understands that, my true love is working with the nonprofit community. I can see that,
yeah.
I think they're very understanding and they are my support mechanism. But again, being able to balance both, run a business and work in that capacity, and yet have the time to work with the nonprofits, I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and it puts a smile on your face. My guest is Adam Kintish. He's with M&T Bank. He's a branch manager with them, but dedicates an awful lot of his time to this kind of nonprofit work. Now for the bad pun. Now, since you run a branch during the day, would it be true that as a branch manager, you'll like this, Matt, that when you come out here, you turn over a new leaf as a branch manager?
Pretty much. I got you.
Yeah,
you know what? That joke stems from some of your other
stems,
jokes.
Isn't it true? Well, let me tell you where it's rooted. It's rooted in respect for what you do. Folks, you'd have to understand. I did different types of work, and I've run into this man before, helping other organizations through his bank. And it's such a pleasure because he's not just here to be a pretty face like me.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, trust me. We could be the Booze Brothers for sure. Well, before you go, tell us a little bit about why this organization, you even have the event manager on, sponsor. Why this one?
Well, families, not only in Westchester, but families nationwide, are striving to find childcare, proper childcare, trusting and safe childcare for their children. And what Childcare Council Westchester does is they're not only an advocate for the families, but they're also advocates for the childcare providers as well. And that combination presents such a wonderful, wonderful thing that they do to help the families find that childcare. If I'm a working person, the last thing I want to worry about is the safety of my child and where my child is going to be during the day while I'm at work. And as a parent who had younger kids, I was fortunate enough to be able to have the means to provide for them that proper care, when we were working or whatever the case was. So they just do an incredible job in being an advocate for families throughout Westchester.
Well, I want to thank you on behalf of Westchester Talk Radio, of course, Matt and I do. But on behalf of the Childcare Council of Westchester, and just as a human being, thanks for what you do, and thank M&T Bank. And as I said, folks, he's not just showing up in some cynical way. We're out here. I always run into him where people need something. Adam Kintish, thank you so very much.
This was wonderful.
It's been a pleasure having you on Westchester Talk Radio. Folks, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this.